So people talk about Portland in the late 90s like it was some sort of paradise. Rent was nothing, everyone was in like 6 bands, and beer was $1.75. And you know what? They were right. I was there. It was incredible. I played in my 6 bands, but I really fancied myself a performance artist. Not a street performer, a performer on the stage. So I'd write my own material, and then I'd find a venue and perform it in front of audiences. And believe it or not, it wasn't very lucrative. So even though my rent was meager, I had to make ends meet another way. So I would go to estate sales, and I would buy things, and I would resell them on this brand new website called eBay.com, which had just come out. And at a certain point, I said, hey, maybe I could do a show about eBay. Like it's this new thing, internet's kind of new at this point, and most people don't know about it. So I pitched the Portland Institute for Contemporary Arts on this eBay show for their new TBA festival that they had just started. And they actually said yes. They said, sure, yeah. And so then I had to kind of figure out what the show was gonna be. Like, I knew I wanted to teach people how to do eBay, but I also just didn't want to do a tutorial that you could probably watch on the eBay website, right? How was it gonna be art? How was I gonna bring a perspective to it, or an idea, or a point of view? So kind of on a whim, I went, maybe you guys have been, has anyone been to a Get Rich Quick Scheme seminar at the convention center? They're like free, they're all day. And you go, and every hour on the hour, there's another expert who's gonna teach you how to be a millionaire overnight, right? And then for the first hour, it's like real estate. And then it's gold bullion, and then at the lunch hour, it's the stock market. And it's amazing because they talk, each one of these motivational speakers, they talk for almost an hour and manage to give you absolutely no useful information, all right? Instead, it's their story, and they talk about how they were poorer than anyone in this room, and then this person helped them on this rafting trip and took pity on them, and all of a sudden, now they're a millionaire, and they're here to help you. And of course, you can't just figure it out in an hour, so you gotta take the master class. There's always a catch, right? How much is the master class? $3,500. But today only, it's $2,500. But if you sign up in the next 10 minutes with all those people in the back of the room in tuxedos with credit card machines, it's only $1,500. And we're gonna throw in the CD-ROM library, which is yours to keep for your entire lifetime. I don't know if there are plants in the audience, but people literally jumped up and sprinted to be the first one to spend $1,500 that they did not have on this master class. And I watched this hour after hour. I don't know, some of these people must have spent $6,000 on master classes. I don't even know where they would have room in their house for all those CD-ROMs, right? And so I thought, this is terrible. These people are terrible human beings preying on people who need help. But also, I've just figured out how I'm gonna do my show. I'm gonna be one of these terrible, terrible people. I'm gonna get on stage and make eBay sound like the most incredible thing in the world. So I came up with this character, A.C. Dickson, eBay power seller, who's a little bit like me on 4 cups of coffee. And so it was the live performance, it was like an hour and 15 minutes. I didn't even tell you how to do eBay until about the 55-minute mark. I was talking about how eBay was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it's gonna make you rich, and it's gonna change the global economy, and you gotta do it, and just getting people all whipped up. And at the very end of the night, I had these auctions that I'd set a week before, so people watch as things go from $5 to $45 to $100 in a minute, and people they're sold, and people go home and sign up for eBay accounts. And I got, because curators come from all over the world, I got to tour Europe 3 times with the show. I got hired at Wieden & Kennedy to write ads, having never written an ad. But best of all, I got cast in a Portland Trailblazer TV commercial. Look at me. I'm tall enough that I look like I should be able to play basketball. I was in 6 bands. Of course I love the Trailblazers. This was so exciting. It was 14 years ago, the idea for the campaign, for the commercial campaign, was house party. So it was like the entire team and 50 of their closest fans, all partying together. And then each sort of star got their own commercial. So I got to be part of the scene in the kitchen. House parties going on, people are barbecuing, they're dancing. But it's sort of an introspective moment. And I'm at the kitchen table with a punk rocker with the leather jacket and the studs, and Derek Anderson, who is our new free agent signee. He's gonna be our starting shooting guard. He's a 20-point per game guy. He's our salvation. It didn't quite work out that way, but we always got hope as Blazers. This was when he was new, and he was gonna be our superstar. And so the 3 of us were sitting around a table playing Jenga. That was the idea for the commercial. And see, here's the thing. This was not a Nike commercial. He was not getting paid. He had to do this. So Derek Anderson was not having very much fun because it takes hours to make a 30-second TV commercial, right? The punk rocker, she's not saying anything, right? So it's not going well. We're not having fun. You know, the thing topples and it's just... So here's where I understand why the director cast me. He goes, AC, tell Derek what you can sell on eBay. And I get it. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I go into AC mode and I start telling Derek, if there's a player on the bench that's not pulling his weight, you can sell him on eBay. If you got some 8x10 glossy photos that are autographed, we can sell them on eBay. I'll help you. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He starts to smile. And he starts to have a good time. And when the Jenga, stack crashes, he laughs, and all of a sudden the shoot's going really well, and, director's happy. It's a success. And at the end of the shoot, he comes up to me and says, AC. He comes up to me. Says, hey, C, let me get your phone number. An NBA superstar is asking me for my phone number. And I give it to him, yeah. And I tell all my friends, and they're like, hey, he's not going to come. I'm like, we're going to be friends. We're going to be friends. We're going to mandate. They're like, he's not going to call. And he doesn't for a week, right? And then I get a call, hey, it's Derek. And I'm like, I don't know any Derek's. I want you to sell my car. I'll be there in an hour. He goes, hold on. I got games I got to play. I'm an NBA superstar. Why don't you come over this Saturday? So my wife and I, we take our broken down F-150 pickup truck, and we go out to his community of McMansions. And as soon as we park, one of his neighbors is like, who are you guys? She's got her, ready to call 911. We're like friends of Derek's. And she's like, starts quizzing us on like how well we know him. And, fortunately, he shows up. He shows up in a Hummer. Not the Hummer that we would buy if we would buy a Hummer, but like the really expensive kind. And he gets out with like $40 worth of Taco Bell. And I'm like, what a great guy. He's got his posse in there, the high school friend who does the errands, and maybe the college guy, who couldn't make it in the NBA, but they're along for the ride. Keep him out of trouble. Maybe there's some ladies. Maybe there's some other Blazers in there. We go in. There's no one there. I'm like, oh, that's nice. He got Taco Bell for all of us. He didn't. It's just for him. He's an NBA athlete. He's got high metabolism. He needs a lot of Taco Bell. And I start looking around, and not only is there no one else there, there's nothing in there. It's just this big house with like a TV and a couch in a living room the size of my apartment. Stove hasn't been used. He's just kind of gotten there. And he sits down, he starts eating, he starts talking about managers and agents and lawyers and how they just take and they take and they take. So he turns to me and says, well, so what do you want? What do you want to take from me to sell my car? And I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to, I don't want to be one of these. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, when I sell something for a friend, I take like 25%, but I'm selling like a punk rock record for $40. I need the $10 to kind of make it worth my while. So I'm like, I don't know, like 5%? He goes, no. I'll give you $1,000 if you can sell my car. But I will tell every NBA player I know that you are the go-to guy to sell their car and that you charge 5%. And this is amazing because $1,000 is like 100 of my auctions, right? I'm going to pay rent on time, and I'm going to be the used car salesman to the NBA elite, right? Not only am I going to be rich, I'm going to be flying down to LA, selling a Ferrari for Kobe, helping Shaq get a monster truck off his hands. Never mind the fact that I know nothing about cars whatsoever. Right? I currently have a Subaru Forester, okay? So we go to the garage, and it's a very nice car, and it's a Maybach, which he explains is this basically luxury sedan. It looks very nice, but once you get inside, all of a sudden he gets excited. He starts showing, there's like a privacy screen so that your chauffeur doesn't kind of see what's going on in the back, and there's like a little mini fridge, and there's like a remote control Venetian bamboo blinds for the back, a lot of privacy and security. And so I'm just crawling over the thing, taking pictures and asking questions. I don't know anything about cars. I'm just, writing down anything. And, and he's sort of explaining how this is just the floor model. He's waiting for the custom one to come from the factory that's been designed in his custom colors, his college colors. So he's, so I'm like, what? And notice there's like 8,000 miles on the odometer. This thing's barely used. Like, what do you want for it? And he goes, 200. But an extra 10 for the rims because I had those custom made. And I don't know how many zeros are behind that. Like, I know it's not $200. And I'm like, is it 200,000? So I asked him, he's like, yeah, 200,000. And I start to walk all over this thing a little more gingerly, you know, in this back seat as I take my pictures. I'm like, all right, you know, it's got 8,000 miles. I mean, you know, he's asking, you know, he's asking what he paid for it, but it's owned by an NBA superstar, right? It's going to be amazing. So I go home, and we put it up on eBay. Week auction, so it's going to end the next Saturday afternoon. And from moment one, it's pandemonium. I am getting art galleries on both coasts offering to trade artwork for the car. The Oregonian calls. They want to do an article about this thing. I'm getting fans who want to pass along blessings and prayers, and some of them have made full oil paint portraits and full body like pictures of Derek Anderson. They want me to pass them along, and so I'm forwarding everything. You know, he's saying no to the art gallery offers. He's kind of ignoring the fan art requests, you know, people who want me to pass it along. But, you know, he's excited, and I'm excited, and the Oregonian article comes out, and a couple days go on, and I'm getting questions, and I'm, you know, kind of asking him questions, and he's not hearing back from him as much because he's an NBA superstar. That's all right. I do my best to try to figure out the answers, and it's getting so many page views. There's no bids yet, right? But, you know, I know, hey, when does everyone bid on an eBay auction? There you go, last minute. So, and it's, you know, he's asking what he paid for it. It's got a few miles on it, so it's all about that last day. So Saturday comes around, and it's an event. I invite friends over. We make chili. This is like my Super Bowl. I got friends who are going to be watching this at home. You know, my parents, they're going to be watching, you know, over in Maryland. This is a big event, right? So, you know, so we check in with an hour to go. I mean, still, there's questions, and the view count is going bananas. No bids yet, but that's all right. Let's check in with like 10 minutes to go. So we eat our chili, and we check back. Still nothing. It's all right. You know, it's all about that last minute. It's all about the last minute. So a couple minutes to go. You know, I've got the dial-up internet, right? So I mean, it's not in real time. You basically have to hit refresh and then wait as like little pieces of information show up, and like 20 seconds later, you see if you got a bid or not. So, you know, like a minute to go, still nothing. And it's like, you know, refresh, and then finally like 43 seconds to go, still nothing. Then refresh, you know, 29 seconds to go. It's like 13 seconds to go, and we're all like, this is it, Dickson's gonna get rich. And nothing. And I'm bummed out, but only for a second, because I realized we got to do this thing all over again. We got to do a 10-day auction, right? We need to do more photos. I didn't really know what I was, you know, like doing in the write-up. I'm going to really do some more research on this. I got to go back to Derek Anderson's house. We need more pictures. I'm going to be proactive this time. We're going to go out and get some media to cover this. We're going to make it a news event. I'm going to call ESPN. We're going to really do this. So I call him, doesn't answer. Go figure. Maybe he's playing a game. I leave a message, and I kind of detail the plan. And I don't hear back. And then I call the next day, and again, I'm like, Derek, we got, like, strike while the iron's hot. There's a lot of interest. The art galleries, they're offering some, you know, some nice work. Let's do this. Let's maybe lower it to maybe 185, 190. We can do this. I don't hear anything back. A couple days go by. I send one last email. And as I kind of calm down, I realize that I have kind of become AC, right? I was the one who told him what eBay was. I was the one who told him it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I was the one who got invited over to his house, crawled all over his $200,000 automobile. I'm the one who kept pumping him up, telling him this was going to happen. And then I realized that I had become yet another person in his life looking to take and offering something that I actually couldn't deliver on. Thank you.